Today in Conversations That Convert, we're talking to Michael Willson from Mr. Honeydew, one of our builder spotlights. And Michael has a very interesting story about starting this company and now transitioning away from handyman services into remodeling renovations. Let's get started.
Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Each week, Rick teams up with industry experts to tackle practical strategies in lead generation, marketing, and sales for remodelers, home improvement companies, and custom builders. From practical tips to deep industry insights, we cover everything you need to grow a stronger, smarter business. Brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant.
Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations That Convert. And Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Good to be here.
You, Michael, have a very interesting story. I'm so grateful and thankful for you joining us to be able to share it with any builders that are listening because, as they like to say, this ain't your first rodeo. You've been around the block a bit in this business. And so we hear a lot of builders that are maybe newer to the business. You are definitely not. But you have a great story in that a year or two ago, maybe you had an epiphany of where you decided, hey, I no longer want to be known for just doing handyman work. I want to expand the business. I want to maybe hire a general manager, get out of the day-to-day so much. Fascinating stuff. But why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the business, where you're located, and what you're doing right now?
Well, yeah, I got into the business. We're here in Tahoe City is where my office is, here in Lake Tahoe, California. We're on the California side of the lake. I got into the business years ago when I met my wife. I was a golf pro at the time and had just moved up to the lake here in '02, just after the turn of the century there, and moved up to the lake, and she had to come up with a creative idea. How am I going to keep a golf pro from being a snowbird and going back and forth from the wintertime, back down south, Southern California, and keep him here at the lake? So one day, we were up in Seattle at the time and really just not even engaged in conversation. We're on a ferry boat going from island to island, and just out of the clear blue, she burps out, "You got to start a business and call it Mr. Honeydew."
Where did that come from?
And exactly. Well, she goes, you come home for long weekends and you do everything around the house that I need done. People would kill for, a service like that. And at the time, Rick, we had a lot of builder friends that were general contractors. They were building homes, that sort of thing. And they couldn't be bothered with a garbage disposal replacement or fixing a toilet, putting up a ceiling fan, those sort of things. So that was kind of a good little niche to get into. And I kind of knew my way around things. I wasn't really the handyman in my family. It was really my brother and my dad that were more of the handyman nature. I was just the jock in the family, hanging out at the country club most of the time, kind of thing. But, I called on my brother for many things at times. He's a master plumber back in Iowa. And, I just had this tenacity to know kind of how to fix things and figure it out. And lo and behold, we came back from Seattle, my wife and I, and we stopped at Kinko's, and we probably made a pile, no fish story, of flyers about this tall, stack of them. I walked down Main Street here in Tahoe City. I passed out 6 flyers. I've got more work than I know what to do with. And game on, here we go. I left the driving range. I stopped teaching golf, cold turkey. And I got busy, and that was 20 years ago. And
unreal. Your wife has an ear and eye for looking at business opportunities, and she was dead on, obviously, that your market needed it.
Yes, we really did. We laughed. She goes, "It's funny, you only, because she's very entrepreneurial, and she she laughed one time. She asked me, "Why is it you love me?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, one, you're entrepreneurial. Oh yeah, you're pretty good looking too."
He said the right things, right?
Oh, I'm entrepreneurial. Okay, well, but she is, and she had a very challenging background, raising 3 kids as a single mom, and she made it happen. And unlike being in a big city like Minneapolis, up here in a transient town like this that's very seasonal and vacation orientated, it's tough to make it work.
Well, and let's and you okay. So I want the audience to know that you weren't just like one guy in a truck driving around doing stuff. When we first met, tell us what you had built just in the handyman business in a vacation market. And I want to make sure everyone understands. Yes, it's a real market. It's a vacation market. And oftentimes what you see in vacation markets is that you got to wear like 3 different hats. You got to do like 3 different businesses to make it. But you had built a pretty nice business just doing handyman work.
Ooh, I did. And I did the handyman thing for quite a few years. I flew solo, maybe a couple, 3 years. And then I started to figure out, okay, if I'm charging $50 an hour and I hire a guy, I pay him $25 an hour, I can get twice as much more work done, make more money. Okay, what if I hire 2 guys, 3 guys? Boom, the light goes on. And yeah, I mean, it went from there. I had 2, 3, 4 guys, 5 for many years, probably 6, 7 years, who all had different varying degrees of talent, and some crossed over. So I had a pretty good team there of doing handyman stuff. But then it kind of traveled from there. Oh, hey, we can fix your deck. We can build you a new deck, or kind of along those things. Oh yeah, you do tiling. Yeah, I can build you a bathroom. So it really started to morph into a little more remodeling, and we got bigger and bigger. And I mean, I got up to about 15 employees there about 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was well, I was busy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it was tough to control, but at the same time, we had a lot of diverse talents where we could really cover a broad spectrum. And that's what was key, especially back in the day of starting out. I mean, I offered anything and everything to clients, from snow shoveling to babysitting, just to stay busy in this transition from the golf industry back into the construction industry. And one of the things that made me, I think, successful is the customer service end of it. And for many years, I mean, I still to this day, I'll tell clients and employees, subcontractors, look, we're in the customer service business.
Yeah, very true.
Absolutely. Point blank. We're in the customer service business. That's who signs our check. And, I would have some pretty spirited conversations with former employees. That's not how you do it in construction. Well, this is how we do it in customer service. Mm-hmm. And I took that method, that theory, and I was with Marriott Corporation for many years. And if anyone ever stays at a Marriott, they know it's, in a different league of hotels. It's an incredible stay, and they make it right. And I just took that theory and I brought it over into my business, and yeah, it's worked. And it's scary how simple that is sometimes. Answering the phone, show up when you say you're going to show up, do what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
I mean, wow. If I had known
sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, but I would tell you. So I don't know if you know this. I have a side hustle. I have a short-term rental business. So I'm in different markets like Tahoe. I call it in my market, the area, the part of the state, the area code is 218. And I call it the curse of the 218. If you call a 218 number, you have no idea what you're going to get. Number one, do they even answer the phone? Number two, if they answer it and say that they will stop by in such and such a day, will they show up? Because oftentimes they just don't. And then they don't return phone calls. And number three, will they actually be able to get the work done? And so it's like what you just said. It's like, if you can offer that type of just basic customer service, answer the phone, show up when you say you're going to show up, and make sure the client is satisfied, you can build a nice business. Just doing those.
You really can. And that's exactly what we are here in Tahoe. About 25 to 30% of the homes are only occupied year round by full-time residents. The others are vacation homes, second homes, rentals sort of thing, for the people down in the Bay Area of San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose. And I mean, it's down in the Bay Area, San Francisco and Silicon Valley. I mean, it's very chic to have a cabin that just so happens to be 7,000 square feet.
Yeah, right.
In Tahoe. But what I tell them is look, Mr. CEO of your Fortune 500 company, no, you're not going to paint your house. So no, get that out of your mind. I'm going to do it. You're going to relax. But I explained to him, look, I'm your right-hand man up here. I'm your friend. Just call me if there's anything at your house that you need. I'm here. You're down there. You stay doing what you're good at, being a CEO. Don't think you're going to be a painter for a weekend or your week up here. Let me take care of it. I'll take care of you. Kind of thing.
Your same target market or demographic is very similar to a high-end custom builder or design build, remodeler that's doing a big renovation or custom home for that person as their primary residence. You're just happen to be working on the secondary residence. And then obviously they have to trust you because they're 100, 200 miles away, and they can't be there. And so they need to have a guy that they trust. But what I found is that if this type of demographic, they find somebody that they trust to let them into their home when they're not there. And of course, I know a lot of these people are very private, right? Because they have pretty high profiles. That's a big deal. They're more than happy to refer you as well to their friends and family. So Mr. Honeydew, I think you built that business primarily on referrals and repeat work.
It started out that way, very much so from the very beginning. It was very much referrals. And my wife stated that from day one. Hey, this is still kind of a small town, and reputation and is everything. And you got to, really have integrity and do what you say you're going to do. And of course, it's always been just me in the background. It's just always been my motto, to be of service and just to do and say, do what I'm going to do. And yeah, that just built off of that. And, I worked with some property managers, realtors, so word kind of got out, and just staying consistent with that motto of those three easy things. I mean, I can remember being underneath a sink, putting a garbage disposal in, by myself, and the phone rings. And I mean, when that phone rings, especially when you're offering everything to everyone, you're just starting out, you've got to answer that call.
That's right.
Yeah. Holding up the garbage disposal, the phone in the other ear. Yeah, absolutely. I can be there in a couple hours.
That's right.
You just got to. But of course, it's growing from there. And yeah, now I've got some office staff, and we've grown, through many different chapters along the way. I mean, I should have been writing a book all along, from the very start. I mean, it could have been really a New York Times #1 bestseller. I mean, some of the people you run across and the employees, and oh my God.
Yeah, I think you, saying you're in the customer service business is so It's so true, and that we forget that when I'm talking to builders and home builders, and and ask them, say, well, what do you do? It's like, well, we build homes or we remodel homes, and my answer is, it's like, well, no, that's not how your clients look at you. Your clients look at you as saying you're solving a lifestyle problem. There's something that they want to be able to do in their home that they can't. The home needs to either be remodeled or built, and they're looking for somebody to be able to provide that lifestyle that they don't have access to right now. I said, so really we're in the lifestyle business is what we call it. But how big did you get the Mr. Honeydew aspect of the business before you started to make this switch? You had this epiphany. What was your annual revenue at your peak?
Oh, we were hitting 1.75. I think a few years we got up to probably 2.5 million a few years ago.
Just in handyman business. Yeah. And what was approximately your average job size?
Oh, hard to say, couple $1,000.
Yeah. So that's a lot of volume.
So it's a lot of volume. And when I started off back in day one, Rick, I thought we got a numbering system, of course, for our invoices. So I was thinking, my God, if I could get to 365 invoices for the year, oh man, I'll be crushing it. I crushed it all right. I mean, we'd be up to 700 and something, 800 and something on invoice numbers, and it's like, oh my God. But that's where it kind of really started to make the turn. It was a lot of going here, a lot of going there for kind of small ticket relative. I mean, not every invoice is $2,000. No, but I mean, I had a lot of $150 invoices, and I mean, it takes time to produce those as much as it does a $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 invoice for something more extravagant. But it just seemed to be like just a lot going on. I wouldn't call it chaotic, but in a sense, it kind of was.
Yeah. And so walk us through a little bit, like what you were going through. Like, you're at your peak, you got your 5-6 guys, you're doing roughly $2 million. And what happened, or what clicked for you where you said, hey, I think I want to change things up?
Well, I always preach to the guys, look, you can't become comfortable with the status quo. You've got to keep reinventing yourself, because there's always going to be someone out there that says they can do it cheaper, better, and faster. I mean, the competition's going to gobble you up and come up with some new way. So we've got to be innovative. As much as you can, look on YouTube and teach yourself, learn something new, try to find other ways. I mean, YouTube's loaded with people that love to make videos of themselves. And
YouTube University, right?
Yeah, right. But, you got guys that might have a trick up their sleeve that might be able to help us. So like I was mentioning earlier, I had guys that knew how to build decks and how to frame. And I had good painters. That's all they knew was how to paint. And I had guys that knew electrical and plumbing, that sort of thing. So I just started to put together, if I could maybe shift this into a remodeling type company where we're on a job for more than one day, where we're going to the same place, where maybe I can still keep the same dollar amount coming in, but the number of invoices kind of come down, sort of thing, where I'm not chasing the small little ticket items, which in a sense are profitable. But then you got guys running around from this side of the lake to this side of the lake, etc. You got drive time in between. So, and then how do you charge for that? So now you got trip charges that we tried one time, sort of thing, billing the customer for that. Well, you didn't get here till 12 o'clock, but he was down on the south side of the lake. He had to travel there. It got to be a little bit convoluted. So I moved into the remodeling aspect just to try to tone it down. I was years, I mean, all my life I've been in customer service business. So I just felt like I had to get the numbers down, the number of contacts, the number of people I would come across and have to try to satisfy all the time. So I made this move, probably real significantly about 3 years ago. We had been gradually climbing the scale up into the remodeling aspect of it, but it was kind of hard, I mean, Mr. Honeydew, that gives you the connotation. Oh, he's an everything man. He can do it all. And my logo even does that too. I mean, I got a guy that's got the bib overalls on, kind of thing, and the connotation. Oh, here's a handyman who can do it. So that little stigma of being just a handyman and getting to a full blown remodeling service, contracting service, it's taken a little bit, but that's where I stumbled into Association of Professional Builders. And then, I mean, right away, that's how you and I become connected, was through APB. And we've been working on this now for almost a couple of years, just kind of trying to get the word out there that we're much more than just a handyman business.
And what does that look like internally and externally? So just to back up a little bit, it was like a chaotic environment. You're doing tons of volume, pretty low average sales price. And I think where you're coming from, what I think what you're trying to say is like, if I go do a $150,000 job, that is an opportunity cost, because now I can't do the maybe $150,000 job, or maybe even a $15,000 job if I take that on. So what did that look like? I guess let's start with externally, because oftentimes when you look at something from the outside looking in, you think like, oh, this is how it's going to work. And then you actually get there and you're like, oh no, that's not how it works. I need to do something different. And I'm sure you've had some of those moments too. So let's start with externally, what you did first to sort of do the facelift of Mr. Honeydew. And then let's talk internally. How did that impact your operations? Did you hire some new people? Did you have to let some people go? What does that look like?
Well, yeah, externally, it was crazy for the better part of, I mean, we're in our 20th year now of being a business here. And it had this feeling many times where I'm a lone soldier. I'm out on planet Pluto. There's no, I mean, people would ask me all the time, is this a franchise? I mean, my trucks are loaded with logos and the whole wrap and everything. Is this a franchise? No, God, I really wish it would be someday. But there's no encyclopedia for Mr. Honeydew. So it's just me, working the business and just trying to be the best businessman I could. And my dad died at a young age, and I don't have any uncles that really stepped forward. So it was really just me. So, I did really, obviously, a pretty good job getting to a $2.5 million company by myself.
Great job.
All of a sudden, one day out of the clear blue, I get a call from a representative at Association for Professional Builders. And I thought lightning was captured in a bottle. I just was like, oh my God, you mean there's actually a business consulting company that can help me through some of this growing pains, et cetera? And sure enough, yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to be charging this, or, really quantifying the business aspect of it. So that's what was exciting to me, to try to get away from the day to day and really look at, the business part of it. Am I doing things right? I was always second guessing myself. I mean, how can I be better? Kind of thing. And of course,
and I want to just pause for a second here, because you said something, and I don't even know if you realize you said it, is getting away from the day to day. And I think that a lot of builders, and this is called small business owners too, it is so difficult to be able to say, no, I'm going to get off the job site, or I'm going to get out of the day to day, even if it's managing projects, and actually spend time to work on my business. I don't know if you realize you said that, but before I forget, I'd like you to elaborate on a little bit on that, what that looked like. I mean, was it 2 hours a week? Was it 10 hours a week?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was probably, well, back in the day, yeah. I mean, it was 70 hours a week, easy, climbing up close to 80, where you're doing a lot of it yourself. And then you're running to one job here to line out a couple of your technicians, go into another job, lining out a couple more, following back up, quality control. They're calling you, hey, I need another gallon of paint or whatever. We need another, 2x6 or something, So yeah, it's the constant back and forth. But now, as we try to morph into this, I changed and got more the complete job description to my tech so that they could follow a list of things that needed to be done and really take it on themselves to get their own materials, that sort of thing. So that helped quite a bit. And even into, today's work now, I've really scaled back from the employees. The insurance costs are just incredibly high. So I really made the move here lately to hire more subcontractors to do the work for us as we get into these larger projects. So
I should clarify too that you work in both Nevada and California.
Yeah, we're licensed in both California and Nevada. So again, kind of like back in day one when I was just a handyman offering anything and everything to people, being licensed on both sides of the lake, which takes us down into the Reno, Carson City Valley area. Now, as we're expanding towards these more larger jobs, I got a larger area to try to capture more leads, more people looking for our service. So we are spread pretty good throughout an area, but I've got subcontractors located in different areas to help handle that area coverage too.
Okay. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about niching down, which is, I guess, is where you're at right now in your story. But where does that start from an external standpoint? Because I know when we met, obviously we rebuilt your website. We started to target certain projects you hadn't targeted yet. But how did that process look like?
We worked on the website. Really helped us to rebrand ourselves and let people know that, we can do this and we can do that, and offering different services. And whereas once we really didn't deal with anything that had blueprints to it, now we do. It really, that was probably the biggest help there. And I mean, like I say, still to this day, it's not like we don't do handyman stuff, but we're really trying to get to that larger project.
Do you still, because I know I've heard the guys say, oh, Michael doesn't want to focus on handyman stuff. He just wants to go after the bigger remodeling projects. So yeah, I understand. So it sounds like, niching down, you still are maintaining the handyman business, right? That book of business is there, but are you just more promoting now the larger remodeling projects?
We're about 70-30, 70% remodel, 30% handyman.
Oh, it's been that much of a flip. I didn't realize you had, wow, that's huge.
Oh, yeah. what Builder Lead Converter's done for me is, I mean, it's off the charts.
Wow.
As much as I wanted to, try to be one of those legendary contractors here in the Tahoe area, it's going to take a while to, those are some pretty big names to overtake. Not that I know if I can really even get to there, but I've kind of stepped back, kind of biting my tongue a little bit on just nixing Handyman all together. One, the name it won't escape that type of service. But during the first quarter and almost half of the second quarter, it's very much a downtime because obviously of the 400 or 500 inches of snow we get here a winter, that takes half of the workload away. I mean, you can only do work inside. You're not doing any siding projects or deck work in the middle of winter. I mean, sometimes we have, but you can't rely on that. So the handyman business really it's almost our bread and butter, our meat and potatoes, so to say, where, just having that kind of cash flow going, and it really helps kind of even things out a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So it sounds like most of the guys now that are doing the physical work you're subcontracting.
Yeah, most of them there. I still got a few guys on the technicians, so to say, handyman on the other side, doing different projects from various sizes. As well.
Okay.
So,
and then you've got project managers or lead. Do you use project managers or lead carpenters for your stuff that are employees?
Yeah, I got one very solid lead guy that really takes on everything himself, and from start to finish. And I mean, he's built up quite a reputation in our company of being the go-to guy. And a lot of times the client will just call him directly because they've got that reputation, that relationship going where he can, just get it done. So, it helps to have those lead guys. And I've got some former employees that have come back and have crews and are helping me with some of these larger projects. My very first employee worked for me for 5 years, but he left. He wanted to do more framing and deck work at the time. Well, it's come full circle now. We've finally gotten back together where he's helping me with some of the larger projects, reading blueprints, additions, large decks, that sort of thing, helping me get quotes together for that. And then we will use his crew to build it and what have you. And so he's kind of riding my coattails on the marketing side of it, where I'm getting a lot of the leads, and we subcontract to 3-4 different subcontractors depending on what it is.
Sure. It's kind of specialty subcontractors and also location specific.
Yes, it helps too. Yeah.
So when you made this leap and you started to bring on, these larger projects, remodeling projects, you talk a lot about niching down. What sort of projects did you find that were a great ones to take on when it comes to remodeling? And I guess in a dovetail to that is, are you offering design build services, or do these projects come to you where like an architect or designer's already done them?
No, we're trying to really go with the design build theory of it, helping people along. Bathrooms and kitchens are our stronghold. We've always got a bathroom going on. Yeah, we've always got a bathroom going on. But we'll help them out. There's services like at Floor and Decor, a tiling outlet, or Bedrosian's is another big tile outlet place in our region, where they've got design services there, but we help people out as far as the layout. I mean, there's only so much you can do in a little 5x8 bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really changing the layout too much at all there. So it's really just a matter of getting them. You want to get rid of the bathtub and we'll just make it a shower kind of thing is the most popular thing in bathrooms.
Yep.
And then just changing up the vanity and give it a new fresh look. So we're helping with the design and build end of it. And then if need be, like on some of the bigger projects like decks come to mind right away. If they're really the very first deck that was built with the house back in the 60s and 70s, yeah, it needs to be torn down. And when you get into it that far and you want to make it larger, you need architectural and engineering services, which I've aligned myself with different architects and engineers to help get plans made so that they can be submitted to the building department here in the county.
What kind of projects would you like to do more of?
I would like to really have a shot at some of these big remodels where it's way up into the six figures. I look at Remodeler magazine and holy cow, a project in Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota had, here's a $400,000 kitchen. Holy cow. I don't get really, that ship doesn't come by my port too often. I must say some of these huge numbers that I see other contractors across the country getting, but at the same time, I think that'll come as I continue to build off of what we've already been doing in it. It's gradual. I'm not gonna go build a 40-story condominium complex anytime soon. That sort of thing. You gotta kind of do your due time in the minor leagues, so to say, before you get a shot at the big show.
Yeah, that's very, very, very good advice. Let's two other things I want to ask you today. Let's start with niching down and how you're going to market yourself. You had that as something you want to talk about. What lessons have you learned over time where sort of creating that niche for yourself and then also marketing yourself towards that niche?
I've really just tried to be honest with people, be upfront with them. And in my conversation with them, I mean, that goes back to answering that phone. That first initial phone call is building the repertoire, the conversation, keep it going. If I can keep these people on the phone for a minute, I got them. And then I become their friend and build in honesty. And in the end, I hook them with, I don't want this to be the last project we do together. I want you to call me back for more. I want you to tell your neighbor. I want you to tell friends, et cetera, that, hey, working with Mr. Honeydew was a pleasure. It was actually fun. It was a learning process, et cetera. And if I don't convey that message, if that doesn't come out, I've failed. And I tell people this all the time. Every one of my clients, I tell them, look, if we're not friends at the end of the day on this, I have absolutely failed. And that's what I don't want. And I haven't gotten here, 20 years in business by being anything else but. And the marketing with that, I've tried to, with the help of your team, try to convey that message and be kind of an expert in the Tahoe area, knowing that winters are very harsh, summer sun is very intense at 6,000 feet up, and the homes take a beating. But this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very good. You recently hired a general manager, or maybe within the last 1 or 2 years?
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. I've gone through a few of them.
You have, okay. So you have you've hired you have a general manager right now.
I got one guy right now that is really doing a very good job. He's probably in his 40s or so. So I lured him from a large construction company down in Reno, and he left on good terms with them, and they offered him best wishes for the opportunity. And I got a little taste of retirement. I had a guy working for me for a while that said, "Michael, go golf, go fishing. I got this." And 6 months later, I had to let him go, and I'm, trying to gain altitude again, pulling out of a nosedive.
Sure.
And I had that little taste of retirement, and boy, was that sweet. I'll have no problem with retirement if that ever comes across, my path again. But the guy I have right now in the managing position, he's going out doing estimates, and he's running around like I used to, doing a good job. But there's no one really in my family to lead the business to, and I haven't really got it up to a sellable position where someone else could come in and buy it really for a couple of years worth of salary that I make. What for? So I've given my guy a carrot to chase, given him a good chunk of the profits if he produces them. So
okay,
he's at that age where his kids are starting to go to college now and what have you, and he sees the picture and says this, he feels like this is his chance to, get himself into a nice position 20 years down the road himself.
So I want to finish with asking, a question that maybe a lot of builders have out there right now is like, okay, Michael, two sides of the coin. What was the best decision you made to, sort of get yourself out of the honeydew or handyman work into more remodeling, growing the business that way? And also maybe what's the biggest mistake that you made that I could avoid?
Well, the best move I made was really after joining Association of Professional Builders. The resources that they had were phenomenal, not only from an education standpoint and networking kind of thing, but also resources. And that's where, I just got to plug your business, Rick. The one thing I needed, and I think what everyone needs, is offense. I need leads. I need people understanding that not only are we the handyman, but we're also a remodeling company now. So I need the marketing aspect to go out there and get after it. And I went in full 60 miles an hour, so to say. I jumped in the deep end with you guys because playing defense isn't any fun at all. Sure, I'm trying to cut insurance costs right now, shopping workers' comp, commercial auto, etc. Cut the phone bill, $200? That's not going to move the needle. But playing offense, that's fun. I love scoring points. And that's where this new marketing campaign that we've been working on for a very good amount of time now, probably better part of 18, 21 months now, is really helped. And my God, my board here right now, we're, on the pipeline, on the Builder Lead Converter app, I mean, it's full. There's a lot of stuff going on. I would say I've got probably 30, 40 projects right now that, to some varying degree, that we're courting people in different phases, trying to get them scheduled in August to do a bathroom remodel or what have you. But making that jump and really trusting the marketing part of it. And you've got to spend 3% of your revenue on marketing. When your business consultants tell you that, you can't deny it. And then even then some, the more you can get above 3%, you're going to see those results. But it takes time. Like I said, we've been doing this 18, 20 months now, but I'm now seeing the fruits of it. And that's very important. Without marketing, I'm back to where I was 15 years ago as a handyman, just counting on that word of mouth kind of thing.
It's interesting you say that, and I want to hold that thought, because you mentioned like you hired this GM. He said, "Hey, go to retire." Then the business started to nosedive. It sounds like you came back in. You said, "No, I'm going to reinvest in the business, even though the business isn't going the direction I want to go. I'm going to reinvest in the business." You felt you had the right resources through APB and I guess some things we were doing for you, and you've been able now, like I said, to right that ship. But you took the leap. You made the investment to get it going.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest mistake I made, was I was too trustworthy in handing over the reins to people that really didn't know. And the construction business is a tough business. Finding the right people, it doesn't lend itself to having really high scholars that come from MIT or Harvard or Stanford that want to be in construction or the handyman business. So you've got some characters that can talk the talk, but walk the walk is another story. And that's probably been my biggest mistake, is not being more resourceful and really digging into backgrounds and demanding numbers and references. How much did you grow the company when you were with them? How many hundreds of thousands, how many millions? What did you do to bring it from 2 million to 5 million? And my biggest mistake was probably that, not really reaching out and trying to find a more educated professional from a good construction background.
I heard another guy we have, John Von Lagen, who's with Joe's Carpentry. He's a APB client as well. And I know he made the comment once where he went out and hired a consultant that didn't specialize in the business and got a lot of bad advice and things went sideways. And then he said, 2 things I learned. Number one, that coach or consultancy needs to be specialized in home building or remodeling. And number 2, having an accountant that understands the business as well, because, understanding what your numbers really are, your work in process and, liabilities and that sort of thing. Said if you don't have an accountant that understands the business, you're upside down sometimes. It's like, why am I losing money one month and making money the next month? And I see you nodding in agreement.
Yeah, no, very much so. Yeah, and I remember one colleague, one plumber that I still sub out work to. He said, "You've got to know your numbers. You just absolutely got to know your numbers." And probably my second biggest mistake is not paying more attention and being more frugal with those numbers and understanding them. But I am now. That was the past. Having industry specific consultants in my quiver is absolutely, we're moving in the right direction, and making sure that all our jobs are profitable. My wife is helping me with that. Each and every one of them, no matter how many they are, we've got to really know that we're making a profit, and then at the same time, trying to watch those expenses, so to say. But I think that's that's where it's helped me a bit too, going with some subcontractors, is knowing what the cost of my job is going to be going in, and getting back to the design and build factor, talking with the client. We're going to know exactly what we're going to build. Here's the picture of the end result. We know all the line items, what they're going to cost, etc., before we even start. And so there's no surprises in the end.
Yeah, very good. Final words of advice for you, for any builder that has been where you formerly were wants to get to where you are right now, things that you would recommend they pay attention to or to look into more?
I've been very anxious to try and scale. I always thought bigger was better, and that's not really the case. I've kind of been licking my wounds the last few years a little bit. Better is better. And that's where I was just talking about profitability on each and every job. You got to have it. You got to pay attention to your numbers, and you've got to market. You've got to have presence on the internet. And that's where I think our big change has really happened in the last few years, is people are seeing us on Google. I mean, we're at the top of the page now. We're not on page 2 or 3. And if you're not playing that game, you're definitely not going to scale. And I mean, that's fine too. If you're one of those builders that are, back in Altoona, Iowa, et cetera, and you build one home every 18, 24 months and you just go on word of mouth, well, that's fine too. That's that niche. But if you're in a large metropolitan area where you're trying to scale and move up, you've got to have your offense going for you. And the big part of that is having the internet. And that's just where we are in 2026. It's a social media campaign. And of course you can't do it all yourself. That's why you've got to hire people to help you with this, because you won't make it. You'll go stir crazy trying to build your own website, trying to figure out algorithms with Google and that sort of thing. There's professionals out there in this industry specific that can help you with that.
Yeah, and I can add on to that, is that now with the complexity that AI has brought to this business, it really has taken the DIY efforts out of marketing, and it has pretty much buried it, and it's gone. I was just talking with another builder this morning, and they were talking about, well, our social media gal puts together a blog post anymore, and I just had to say, oh, I'm sorry. I said, but you're just wasting your time and effort. Unless you would know exactly how to structure that blog post so it's visible in AI, because that's where most people start now, is that AI search summary, or a zero-click summary, or a Gemini, or ChatGPT, or Claude, or Grok, or whatever it is. Who is the builder I should talk to build my deck in Tahoe, or that sort of thing.
Yeah,
it starts off. It's not even on your website anymore. In fact, it's not even on like page 1 of Google anymore. It's in a zero-click search summary with a little tiny citation that says Mr. Honeydew.
Yeah, no, that's what me and your team have been working on here a little bit lately too, is getting to that AI side of things. There a lot of people still Google it, but at the same time, you got to get ready for that next wave, and it is AI all day, all night long. People start figuring that out. They're going to do just that, and you've got to have your marketing professionals behind you and on top of things to get you where you are that person that AI recommends wholeheartedly.
Yep. Getting that, much like a referral, very much with an AI recommendation, or a page 1 on Google.
Yeah.
But I hear you saying over and over again, don't try to recreate the wheel. Find a consultant, coach, accountant, marketing team that understands the business, follow their prescriptive path, know your numbers, and then just continue to reinvest in the company to make sure you're profitable and ultimately happy with what you're doing, having fun.
Yeah, you really do. I know it's hard sometimes. how am I going to do that? How am I going to come up with 3%? How am I going to be able to afford a consultant? Well, hopefully you've had a good reputation with your bank and you've got a bit of a line of credit, and have a leap of faith. If you're going to stay in the business, I mean, that's where we're headed. And if you got to borrow a little bit, I would recommend doing so. If you're going to stay in this business, you've got to have a little bit of flexibility to be able to ride the different waves that come at you.
Yeah. And one thing you haven't addressed, but I would know between us, and I know APB has this too, is you have a dashboard. You have a dashboard that gives you your key performance indicators. You know your numbers month in and month out. You monitoring your numbers, and that will tell you the health of your business and if that reinvestment is actually making a difference.
Oh, and we just had it 3 days ago with Nick, who I can't wait till the first of the month, the first Wednesday in every month. I meet with Nikola over in Serbia. And I love hearing those numbers. And this last week, just a few days ago, Rick, my wife was with me, and so is my GM, side by side. My wife was very skeptical about the 3%, in marketing, and bam, the numbers were off the charts. And Nick explained them to my wife and my GM, and we're at the very top of the game with our marketing. Our numbers are extraordinary, is what the guys are telling me. So
yep, and that's awesome. Yep. And I know you got your other dashboard with APB, and interesting. You brought up the Sourcey report, and I guess we can finish on this. I didn't realize this until I read today, is that builders that rely more exclusively on repeat and referral business have lower net profit margins than those that are reinvesting into client acquisition. And what I didn't realize this, and it makes perfect sense, is when you get that referral lead, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, Michael, it's like, hey, you did the job for Bob, my neighbor. He said you were great. And, Bob said, hey, maybe if I call you up, you can cut me a deal, or give me a good price on this, that sort of thing. And that there's some downward pressure on pricing, or you're trying to provide a good deal because your buddy recommended you, that sort of thing. And I never even thought about that until I saw that in the report. And I thought, well, that makes complete sense. You want to have multiple streams of getting leads, so you're not forced into taking a bad job to fill a production slot, or having a red flags up with that client and going like, well, I got nothing else going, I got to take it. The next thing you know, you're in arbitration, or worse yet, in some sort of a court battle because you took on the wrong client.
Yeah, no, it being diverse in that sense too, not just having one marketing stream, have it coming from different areas. And that's where my wife comes in too, so to say, being that she likes going to the chamber meetings, and she likes going out there talking with people. And I mean, that's just her background of being a ski instructor for 40 years here in the area. She just loves talking to people. So you can't solely rely on word of mouth. You can't solely rely on just the internet, social media. There's different avenues. I still do a little bit of print advertising in this one neighborhood that's very prominent subdivision. It's got 6,000 homes over there in Truckee. So, I mean, that's a good source for our business there too. But again, just having those consultants and having those numbers each month come at you, where is it coming in from? Where are we getting our people from, so that you can capitalize on that when you need to?
And is it getting me the return that I expect? Because if it's not, you just change, right? But you have to know it's not.
You gotta have the knowledge. Yeah,
you gotta have the knowledge. Exactly. It's
knowledge. You can't be guessing.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna run an ad and hope it works. It's like, no, you got to measure the results.
No, those days are over.
Exactly.
Those days are over. Absolutely.
Well, Michael, if anyone is listening and they want to know, see more about what you've done, where can they find you online?
I'm very easy to find. I'm at mrhoneydew.biz, B-I-Z, Boy Island Zebra, in Tahoe City, California. Feel free to call me anytime. I've had a few people call me asking me about Rick and his business, and I've talked with them at length at times too. So happy to talk with anyone, and it's good to talk. So yeah, if you're another contractor, and you don't have to feel like you're alone out there. There's different avenues, and if there's anything I can tell you or help you with, I'd love to talk to you. Give me a call.
Yeah, you've been great. You're very good giving back to the industry, which we certainly appreciate. Well, we love the partnership, Michael. It's been great to hear your story, your challenges, and yet your successes at the same time. And hopefully our listeners got some inspiration from that as well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All
Thanks
right.
so much for joining us here today. And thank you for listening to another episode of Conversations That Convert. And for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all always. See you next time on